Welcome, everyone. This is Christine Glenn with Humanities Team, and I'm so grateful that you've joined us for today's Power of Prayer call with Reverend Robert Brzezinski. And before we get started with the prayer requests, I'd like to read the 5 steps to peace. Peace will be attained when we, as human beings, permit ourselves to acknowledge that some of our old beliefs about God and about life are no longer working. Explore the possibility that there is something we do not understand about God and about life, the understanding of which could change everything. Announce that we are willing for new understanding of God and life to now be brought forth, understanding that could produce a new way of life on this planet. Courageously examine these new understandings, and if they align with our personal inner truth and knowing, enlarge our belief system to include them, and express our lives as a demonstration of our highest beliefs rather than as a denial of them. All right. Welcome, Reverend Robert.
And so I invite each and everyone within sound of my voice to take a moment here, set aside the hustle and the bustle of the day, set aside whatever came before this moment, and come to recognize this moment. Come in this moment to recognize one God, one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, known by many, many names, envisioned through many, many icons and symbols and avatars. One God across all time and space, one presence, one power, one intelligence moving and breathing and having its being as all of life. One self-existent cause that is right now taking shape as my life, as the lives of each and every one that hear these words, whether now on this call or at a later time on a recording, or never even hear the words but feel the vibration of love and light and perfect health and beauty and truth and order that is right now bubbling up to the forefront of consciousness. I invite each one here to recognize in their own way their own God, and recognize that that one God is beating its heart, breathing its lungs as each and every life across this entire planet and beyond. And so I know everyone, everywhere, as a divine emanation, a divine gift of God to creation itself, to this thing called life. It is in this place of knowing the truth of the one, of recognizing the all-encompassing unity of life, of oneness, of God, of Buddha and Allah and Vishnu and Kuan Yin and Source Energy and Gaia and all those names coming together in this one vibrational impulse of love and light and order. I activate in myself the remembrance, the recognition of this truth, and I activate the power of this word. For I know that as God is operating through and as my life, then these words must be God's words. This must be the truth that's revealing itself so that all may be reminded, all may be uplifted and inspired, and all may know the one. I am in such a place of absolute gratitude for the recognition of this truth, for the absolute recognition of the blessing that is happening right here and now. And I open it up to whatever God wants to say. I open up this time to allow the truth to reveal itself. I get myself out of the way, I let go, and I let God be God. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Christine.
So we have quite a few prayer requests for health.
Okay.
Judith would like the total healing of her hip. Elena would like the health and well-being of her son Dimity and her partner David for full healing after a couple of accidents. And Danita would ask for a prayer for a young man in Wisconsin, Eric, and his fiance, Allie. Eric was diagnosed with a brain tumor last week, and it was operated on yesterday. And they were to be married on August the 3rd.
Gotcha. Okay. And was that Donita? Donita? Can you spell it for me?
Yeah, Donette.
Okay.
And Eric and Allie are the couple.
Right on. Yep. Okay. Good. Why don't we start there? And I'm going to include our dear Nanette as well in that.
Yes, I'm grateful that we're including Nanette in our first prayer.
Yeah. Again, as I allow myself to sink into the consciousness, into a recognition of the one, the power, the presence, the intelligence that's operating as all life, I know that one God moves and breathes and has its being as my life and as the lives of each and every one that has already submitted a request to this prayer call, that those that are online right now and still submitting requests, that each expresses and lives and breathes the life of God. And so I know this truth for our dear Nanette, that she is a divine expression of the one. There's no question about that. This is the law of the universe, that each life represents and expresses the one in all its majesty, in all its magnificence, in all of its experience. And so I know Nanette to be a divine emanation of God. I know that the gifts that Nanette brings to this planet are gifts that only she can bring. And so I know that her absolute presence here is vital to the evolution of human consciousness. And in that regard, I know that no matter what the physical experience Nanette may be going through, that there is a higher healing that's happening through that. And so as she moves through this experience of recovery from hip surgery, what I know is I know that everyone involved from before the surgery began until far beyond her recovery, each one is the hands of God operating in time in concert to bring Nanette back to that state of full health, absolute health. Perfect body temple, perfect physical experience. And so I speak this word for Nanette, and I claim for her a sense of peace and a deep sense of knowing that even in the moment by moment experience of the human healing, there is a divine healing that's happening, a higher healing that's happening. And so I claim for Nanette a sense of peace, a sense of relaxation in the body temple as she gives herself this time, as she allows the body time to return to its wholeness. For that is the body's very nature, to return to its wholeness, to return to the one. And I know that Nanette's in that process right now, so I claim for her the sense of peace and health and healing and relaxation that is hers right now in bringing the body back to wholeness. As I know this truth is happening for Nanette, I know this same truth is happening in Judith's life as well. That the divine pattern of absolute health is operating through and as her life. And so as Judith moves through a similar and yet wholly complete and unique experience of healing from her hip experience, her hip surgery, that Judith is also experiencing her own expression, her own opportunity to come to the one, to know that one, to be in a sense of absolute trust and faith that the healing is occurring, that something great and glorious is happening because God's at the very center of her experience. And that as Judith turns and reminds herself and is reminded through these prayers, through these words of God's majesty, God's magnificence operating through and as her life, Then I claim for Judith an experience that is free from any sense of pain or discomfort, for those are not the truth of God. The way God operates is through absolute health and through the sense of allowing the body to return to the one, to the whole. So I claim for Judith a sense of absolute healing and a deep, deep knowing that she is right where she's supposed to be. Because God's at the very center of this, right there with her, expressing as her life. I know that same truth is happening in Dimitri's and David's life. And so I know that Elena is in an experience of her own, coming to a full sense of mental healing around her son and his partners and their physical healing. So there is a full healing happening on all levels for all people involved. Every experience leads us to this truth. I claim for Elena a deeper knowing that her son and everyone involved is absolutely cradled in the strong arms of spirit. That everyone involved is uplifted by the strong arms of spirit, and that there is a divine blueprint of perfect health, perfect physical alignment that's happening, and that while that may be knocked off course or appear to have been detoured, there are no detours in the mind of God. There is the path and there is the way, and I claim for Elena a sense of trust and faith that her son and everyone is on that path, that she walks that path. Simply by requesting this healing, simply by putting her desire out into the universe, there is an energetic vibration that has been loosed and is bringing that sense of healing to all. We magnify and amplify that today through this call and invite each one that hears these words to amplify this truth as well, to know in consciousness that this is God's truth being spoken. Elena's full and complete healing. I claim that same truth for Jeanette and her concerns for Eric and Allie. And knowing that both Eric and Allie were moving in the direction of partnership, of marriage, and moving into a place of union. That now there is that opportunity still for union, and union with a higher power. There's an opportunity here for Eric and Allie to step into a deeper recognition of their own power to heal, to experience life, and to be in that spiritual union with the divine, with the one. I claim that same experience for Jeanette. Knowing that right now, she, and through this experience, her opportunity as well, she's moving into a deeper sense of love and healing and connection to the divine. For it is right now that I claim for Jeanette an experience of absolute faith, absolute trust that God's got this. And that regardless of any appearances, regardless of any outward signs or opportunity, whatever might be happening, whatever somebody else might say, I claim for Jeanette that deep knowing that God is at the very center of this and is operating to bring each and every one to its highest and best, to their highest and best good. Each and every one involved. And what I know is I know for each one each name spoken in this prayer, and those names unspoken and yet touched by all these experiences, I claim for all a sense of peace, an understanding that God's got it. God's got it. And so I rest in trust, I rest in faith, and I rest easy, knowing this is already done. That as these words are being spoken, this truth is already done in the mind of God. And so I can get out of the way. I can loose this word into the law that must say yes, that in fact has already said yes. And with a grateful heart, I just let it be. I let go. I let God be God. And so it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have some prayer requests, more health prayer requests, and we've got some in the chat box and some that have come in via email. Geraldine would like prayers to know what to do when she's being verbally abused, and also healing with problems in the family and healing her physical body. And Michelle would like to pray for the healing of her sister Samantha, because she's been taking drugs and alcohol for nearly 30 years. And yeah, and she would also ask that her family believe in the power of prayer and just how powerful prayer is. And then Terry in the chat box has requested for Natalie in Brazil. She's asking for career direction, but so that's not this one. The other one is she's asking for the perfect health for Lydia Hall, her daughter. And yeah.
Okay, let me get those. I'm just writing these down so I have a quick way to make sure. Okay. And I see one in here from Eileen, it looks like too. All right. So again, I allow myself to become still. And I intentionally, consciously turn my attention into releasing itself, into letting go of what I think should happen here, or what I know, and tapping into the divine and allowing the divine to be the voice, to really embrace God as source, as the one. So I come to that recognition, and I let go of the personality, and I allow the one to speak itself into form, into expression. For I know that God is that one self-existent cause that right now is taking on forms, is taking on experience in the lives of people across this entire planet, across this entire globe and beyond. That the one is taking shape through the experiences of Geraldine and Michelle, Samantha, of Terry and Natalie, of Eileen, for Sherry. That each one represents a unique drop amongst the ocean. And yet each one absolutely vital to the flow of the ocean, to the experience of life itself. And so I know each one of these dear souls brings a unique set of gifts and skills and talents to this thing we call life, to this party called living. Each one brings a unique set of character traits and beliefs and loves and losses. And at the very center of it all is God. And so I speak this word for each one across this planet. For what I hear in each of these requests is the call for love. The call to know what to do in the face of what appears to be unloving or unjust. And what I know is I know that at the very center of any conflict, at the very center of any discord or tension or discussion is God. And so I claim for Geraldine and her friend in Brazil, for Natalie, a deep sense of knowing that at the very moment of the experience, there also lies the opportunity to love, to move into a place of loving and knowing that no matter what, everyone we meet is a divine expression of God. Everyone we encounter is a divine adult of God. Everyone we interact with and work with and talk with is either expressing love or crying out for love. And so in the words of Ram Dass, when they throw arrows, I throw back hearts. And in the face of what may appear, what is abuse, in the face of what is unjust, I claim for each an opportunity to express more love, to put a little more love in the world, to bring more love into the equation, and trust that at the very center of that, all is well, because God's doing it. I speak the same word for Terry's daughter, Lydia, knowing that she is moving through a health experience that is right now returning her to a greater experience, a greater connection with the divine, and a greater connection with love. I hold that same truth for Samantha and her love for life, and for Michelle and her love for Samantha. Because what I know is I know that Samantha is moving through her own experience of calling out for love and expressing love. And that the habits of earthly living, of human life, the habits and the addictions and whatever the experiences are, they're absolutely transitory and dissolve in the face of truth. Addiction, abuse, dissolve in the face of the one, in the light of truth, in the light of God. And so I claim for Michelle a deep knowing that the light of God radiates through her desire, through her truth, through her prayer, and it radiates out into the world, inspiring all that are touched by it. I speak the same word for Samantha, that she may come to that realization of really knowing, of really remembering the light of God shines out from her experience and dissolves all discord. I claim for Michelle's family an opportunity to see and witness the demonstration of the power of the word, so they may believe in the power of prayer. So they too may return to an experience of deeper love, love for themselves, love for humanity, love for all word and all creation, because it is all God's creation. It is all God's creation. I return to a deeper sense than ever before of the love that radiates across this planet. Whether it's in career advice, whether it's in emotional health, our mental health, our physical well-being, it's all about love. And so I know that as Eileen requests an experience of absolute clear, complete and clear, plaque-free arteries, and that as she requests a sense of healing and prayer for her complete circulovascular system, the heart beats, and at that very center, that is God. And so I know for Eileen that I speak this word and I claim for her an experience of opening the heart, opening the mind to a deeper love and a deeper sense of faith and trust in God. A trust that the power and the presence is working through her right now, that there is an intelligence working through the doctors and the nurses and the orderlies, that everyone involved in her care, in her recovery, in her return to wholeness is God operating. God operates through the hands and the hearts of everyone. No matter how big or how small their contribution to Eileen's health may seem, this entire planet is right now collaborating on behalf of her return to wholeness. That's how it works. The word is loosed into the law of truth, the word of truth, loosed, remembered, repeated, affirmed with conviction, with faith, with trust, with a deep sense of knowing that God's got it. I just got to remember that God's got it and stand in that place of knowing exactly what it is I may desire. And I know in Eileen's request, I see that clarity of her desire. clearing and healing of the calcification and plaque in her arteries. I see that same sense of clarity in Sherry's request, that she may experience a sense of peace and calmness around around her nervous system, that as she moves through her experience of life, all aspects, all systems, all the chemical balances in her body and in her life are coming into alignment. And even though it may appear unlike that in the moment, that is the human condition. And so I claim for Sherry a deep sense of faith and trust in knowing that this too is temporary, that this too is simply a process of moving, of returning to a deeper sense of love for the self, for God, for all, a deeper sense of peace, and a deep, deep knowing that everything is moving her forward. Everything is moving her forward towards a greater and greater expression of life on the planet, of her life. Because I know her life as valued, as valuable. I know that same truth of each one whose names have been spoken here in this prayer, that this is another grand collection of divine souls who are bringing forth unique ways God is expressing itself. And so through these opportunities, through these conditions, I claim for each a sense of knowing that God's got it. God's on the job. And all I need to do is trust, is faith, is affirm, and let go. I let go. I get myself out of the way. I trust in the fact that God's moving itself already. There's already a creative force acting upon these words, bringing these words into complete and absolute form, into demonstration. And so I claim for each a deep sense of knowing that this is done in the mind of God and right now taking form in the experience of all. Life is good. I am grateful to know this truth, to be the conduit through which God reminds each of this truth, most especially grateful to loose this word into a law that has already said yes, and let it be, and let go. And so it is.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. We also have a lot of requests today for the healing of our Mother Earth. So we've got Vicky, who is asking for prayers for planetary peace, for love and caring for all beings on Mother Earth, and to become united, bringing love, kindness, and acceptance and caring for all. And Peter in South Sudan would like to have everything removed that is hindering the pillars of tolerance and diversity and peace building and reconciliation for South Sudan. And he's saying thank you for your ministry and for your peace and unity, love and compassion, Reverend Robert. And then we have Jane, and she's asking for prayers for this country. I think she means the United States. And she would like to see that tolerance is created instead of encouraging hatred and bullying. And she's worried about the children that are separated from their families and all the fear that so many people are living with on this planet at this time. And so I think we have another one here for the earth. Yeah. And then Natalie would like to include a violet light for our Mother Earth and all living beings in, on, and around her. And Annie would like to pray for the planet with all its creatures and all the seas and all the lands, forests, trees, endangered wildlife, to strengthen and heal and bring us humans together on this journey.
Is that Janet?
This one was Anne.
Anne. Okay, I'm sorry. I knew I missed the name.
No, that's okay.
Great. Thank you. Any more in that? Are we good on that set? That?
I think we are.
All right.
Oh, actually, there's one more from Thelma, and she's asking for prayers for the Palestinian people whose homes have been destroyed because of, because of war.
Gotcha. All right. Hmm. Love, tolerance, unity, caring, peace, compassion, diversity, families, children, plants and animals, wildlife, Mother Earth, the spectrums of light, the tribes of humanity, the homelands, all you.
It appears that Reverend Robert is frozen on his screen, so please be patient. Thank you. Oh, we just lost him. He'll be right back.
He will be back soon, and he's doing such a beautiful, lovely job today with these
He
prayers.
always does. There we go.
Guess I was gone and I think I'm back.
Yes, you are.
And I was deep, so let's go back there. What I know is each voice, each request is a divine song in the symphony of life. I know right now there is a great and grand and glorious healing that is happening across the planet because there is this great choir of prayer requests that are lighting up the vibrational night sky every day, in every moment. Vicky speaks of peace and love and caring and unity, tolerance and diversity in South Sudan for Peter with peace and unity and love and compassion. Jane and her request for the children and the families to let go of fear and hatred and move into a place of love and truth. Natalie affirming the light, the spectrums of light and beingness. And her request for the plants and the wildlife and the land and the animals. Thelma for the tribes of Palestine, for the homelands, for the wildlands. All these unique, amazing expressions of God playing in concert to bring forth a world that works for everyone. And I know that in some places and in some times there appear to be things contrary to that vision. Things that appear to be hatred and just greed and ugliness. And what I know is I know these are not the truth of God. And so I give them no power. I spend no time focused upon that which I no longer wish to experience, and I put all my focus, all my energy, all my vision upon the world I wish to see. And I claim for each one here that has spoken these prayers, these dear, dear prayers for one aspect or another of Mother Earth, I claim for each a sense of that same truth, of casting the power of prayer, casting the power of desire and the power of vision into a world we wish to see. Denying any power to the ugliness, to the non-truths, Because what I know is I know even in the destruction, even in the loss or what may appear to be destruction, there is a rebuilding like the phoenix rising from the ashes. God is forever taking on new form from the vibrational destruction of other form. I know that every experience, no matter how ugly, every expression of the divine, no matter how ugly or contrary to my belief, I still look for the God, for the good, for the light, because it is that light that will guide and direct me towards the next. What I know, and I claim for each one here, the same deep knowing, is that Mother Earth is right now on a healing path, is right now on a healing track. For God is bigger than just me and just these requests. God is bigger than just our planet, bigger than our solar system, bigger than the universe, beyond the beyond. The known and the unknown, all of that is encompassed by this thing we call God. And so I know God, in its magnificence, in its infinite nature, it knows what's going on. And beyond my limited human sight, I trust that God knows what's going on and is making the adjustments to bring this planet back into absolute health and alignment, absolute perfect spin, where all are uplifted, where we truly are creating a world that works for everyone, where light beings and animals and plants and the wind and the water and the sun and all of it are in collaboration creating this great symphony called life. For the children, for the families, for the absolute diversity and inclusion that exists on this planet. Because God includes all. God includes all people, all forms of life, every breath, every furry creature, every plant, every gnat and buzzing bee. It's all God. It's all perfect. There is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is your life now. And it could be no other way. And so it is.
Thank you. We also have some prayer requests for financial stability. So we've got Bruce, and he's asking to kindly pray that new income comes into his life to support his Social Security payments. And we've got Bob, and he would like to say thank you and to ask for the return of his wrongfully foreclosed home. And he asked for his wife Elizabeth to return to perfect walking and dancing now, and also for continued success in donating of our foundation. And
does it say there?
It doesn't say what the foundation is.
Okay.
Okay. And then we've got Carol, who's asking for prayers for Nancy, and who is a caregiver of David, and that her income has been deleted from the California budget. And if they can't find a way to pay for their low-cost housing rent, they'll have to move, and they don't have anywhere to go. So please pray for the highest and happiest outcome for their situation. And then we've got Rosa, who's asking for help and to pray for her severe financial situation. She has lost her company, and she has debts, and she must honor, and she does not have a job right now, and it is difficult in her country of Costa Rica for a 62-year-old woman to get a job. And she says, thank you.
I've got a few in the chat box I'm going to add in here as well.
Thank you.
I'm just getting this down. Okay. So once again, I slip into that consciousness of knowing, of recognizing the perfection of the one. That beyond my own perceptions, beyond my own perspective of right and wrong, and what should be and what shouldn't be, and how it's all supposed to work, and who's been wronged, and all, beyond all of that, there is the one, the truth. The power, the presence, the intelligence that's right now taking shape, taking form, providing experiences, creating opportunities for the highest and the best of everyone, everywhere. That's the God I know. A God that affirms and provides and supplies and sources everything that's happening and still allows its creation free will to believe, to muck it up, to affirm, to embrace, to experience life. And so I know the grand experience of life is moving through all of humanity at this point. And I see a request for the continued opportunity for humanity to wake up and embrace unconditional love for each other, for the earth. And see, what I know is I know that's already happening because I know it's already happened in my life. I've seen it in others. And so I know that where there is one spark of creation on planet Earth, that spark is multiplied, increased, vibrated, amplified, because the truth cannot be contained. And so we are right now moving through a new experience of humanity waking up to its own magnificence, of humanity waking up to its own power. The power of God, the power of prayer, the power of the word. And so I invite each one here to remember, to speak the word of love, of affirmation, to speak the word knowing that there is never anything really wrong in the world, that the human condition is a transitory thing, it's done, whatever it is, it's almost over, or it's about to be over, or maybe it's going to stick around for a while. But that human condition is molded, shaped, experienced through the power of affirmation, through the power of prayer, through a deep sense of faith and trust that God's got it. And so I know that everything is happening just as it must. I know there is a great uprising that's happening in this world right now. I speak this word for Bob and his celebration, his simple prayer of thank you, where it has been said that if the only prayer was ever uttered was thank you, that would suffice. It's from that sense of gratitude that I know Bob moves into a place right now, and I claim from a sense of knowing right now that everything's working out just as it must for himself, for Elizabeth, for their foundation, that life is evolving and emerging and rising up to meet him. And that he, as he says, thank you for what does come into his life, more good comes into his life. A new home, or perhaps a return to an old home. But no matter what it is, I know that Bob is safe and secure in the arms of God, that there is forever the perfect home, the perfect domicile for he and Elizabeth, so they may walk and dance into the coming years of their lives. See, I know that same sense of shelter and housing and home is available for Nancy and for David, for those that are requesting that, Bashira in Toronto, and those that are just sitting in an affirmation and joining in the affirmative vibration that says, yes, there's enough housing for everyone. And yes, each one is coming to the perfect home, the perfect space, exactly as it's necessary, exactly as it fits. So I claim for Bob a sense of faith and trust, and to stay in that attitude of gratitude through the confusion, through the wondering, through the questioning, and really know that God's on the job, that the foundation is flourishing, that Elizabeth is dancing, and that he is provided for in all ways. I speak that same word for Bruce, that he may remember he is provided for in all ways, that one power, presence, and intelligence called God is his source and supply. And so his source is not the Social Security payments. His source is God. And God takes form through the Social Security payments, and God will take form in other ways. I claim for Bruce a sense of staying open and affirming and trusting and doing the good work of being in the consciousness of increase, of overflow, being in the place of knowing that the perfect next opportunity for him is right now, just about to knock on the door. Because we're uplifting this vibration. We're casting into the universe an affirmation of the good that's right now coming into Bruce's life, that he's right now attracting an increase of income, an increase of financial abundance, of prosperity. I know that same thing's happening in Bob's life, in all lives, most especially for Bruce right now. I know that in Carol's life there's an abundance of prosperity, and I hear in her request that abundance be known by Nancy and by David, that no matter who it may appear to be the provider, and no matter how it may appear the funds are moved into Nancy's accounts, what I know is I know the perfect housing, the perfect income, the perfect opportunities are out there right now. There is a wealth of ways that God is calling to bring more love in the world. And God needs our hands. God needs our voices, our heartbeat, to do that work, to take that form and take that shape. And so I claim for Carol a sense of peace and a sense of calm and knowing that Nancy's fully sourced, supplied, funded, fueled by the strong arms of God. And that as Nancy is uplifted by God, then all that she does as a caregiver for David is inspired by God as well. There is a perfect resolution that's right now playing out for Nancy. I know that truth. I claim for Carol the same deep knowing, the same deep sense of faith and trust that this is the truth of God revealing itself. And so this is already happening beyond the known. I speak the word of truth and abundance and prosperity for Rosa. And I claim for her the sense of letting go of any sense of limitation, any sense of being too old or in the wrong place, or that they won't like her, or she's whatever that junk is. I claim for Rosa a sense of just letting that go. And recognizing that there is no financial situation that's too severe for God. No problem that's too big for God. There's nothing out there separate from God that is holding her back, denying her good. I claim for Rosa a deep sense of knowing that the perfect job, the perfect work is out there for her, that her debts may be forgiven, and that she may recognize her ability to stand in absolute financial prosperity once again. There's nothing too big for God. Trust in the prayer. Move in that place of knowing that everything is happening just as it must. That beyond the known and the unknown, beyond the ability to see, there is a divine plan revealing itself in the lives of each one and each one of these requests. And so I see Terry's request for the leaders of the UAE and her children, for protection and reconciliation, for an opportunity to flow more in her own life and in her own writing. And what I know is, I know God's on the top of all of these. As soon as the prayer is thought, as soon as the prayer is uttered, there is a power that is moving God's hands. The power, the presence, the intelligence begins to move in mysterious ways sometimes. But as soon as the truth is spoken, it must move into form. And so I know that everyone, children, princesses, no matter who, families, those displaced in lands across this country, are still divine aspects of the One, and are still being cared for, still cradled in the strong arms of Spirit. No matter the condition, God's got it. And I can rest in a deep, deep sense of gratitude for that truth. All is well. And everything's happening exactly as it must.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have time for a couple more?
We probably do. One or two more, maybe.
Okay, so we have Jean, who's asking for prayers for her physical healing, and she's asking for prayers for her husband, Tom, for less stress in his work, and for the peaceful passing of her friend, Joan, and peace of mind and less stress for Vanessa. And then we have Sister Lynn, and her prayer request is for the health and healing and well-being of her mother, Hilaria, Hilaria, and for her niece who is sick with lupus to be healed, and for her brother and sister sick with arthritis, and peace for her country in the Philippines. And then Shara is asking for prayers for her friend John to be released from pain, perfect healing, and enjoy his highest good now.
Yes. And so again, I settle into that place of knowing there is a divine blueprint of perfect health, a divine blueprint of the perfect human body, and that blueprint is adjustable, and that blueprint is never failing. That blueprint is the absolute truth of all life. And so I know for each one here requesting a physical healing, for Jean, for Joan, for Hilaria, for John, for all of Sister Lynn's family and Sister Lynn herself and her country, the Philippines. I know there is a great healing happening because each one has stepped into a vibration, stepped into the request, the very request to say, this is the truth I desire. And so each one is already being swept up in the vibrational renewal of God's life here on this planet. God is, remember, forever taking on form and abandoning that form to take on new form. And while, yes, sometimes the human form passes away, the spiritual form remains forever and ever eternal. And so for each one that has any concerns about a loved one's, quote, passing, I speak the word of remembrance that life moves on eternal, ever and ever. There's no end to any life. There is the one life. It is God's life. It is my life. It is your life. And it is perfect right now. And so I claim for Jean, and in a sense and an experience of remembering that the perfection, the perfect blueprint of God's life, of the human body, is already imprinted upon her psyche, is already imprinted within her genes, within her body, and it is hers right now to claim and speak the word, and just as I am right now, and I claim this for Jean, a grand physical expression of absolute perfect health. I know this same truth is available to Joan and Vanessa, for Tom, Lara, Sister Lynn, Shay, and John, that each one may be released from any type of pain, mental pain, emotional pain, physical pain, spiritual pain. That each one may heal the pain body and let go of all the beliefs, any words of any of past thoughts or beliefs and what should have happened or any of that old stuff. And move into a place right now of knowing that God's on the job, God's got it, and all is well. And a perfect healing, a perfect body temple emerges. For the blueprint has been activated. The blueprint is right now emerging through the lives and the experiences of each one listed here. And for that I am grateful. Grateful to know this truth, grateful to know it's already done in the mind of God. So I'm grateful to know that it's already taking form in the lives of each one. I am so very grateful that I let it be. I let go and I let God be God. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. That was beautiful, a beautiful hour.
Thank you.
And I'm very grateful.
I appreciate that. And I'd like to say just a real quick thank you to everyone that was on the call today, or if you're listening to this at a later time, thank you for that. I'm going to share just a couple of quick links in the chat box with you. The first is an opportunity to sign up for, whoops, I'm sorry, forget that. That is something totally different. There it is.
That's okay, because it was only to all panelists. So if you want it for all panelists and attendees, you have to click on that.
Oh, even better. Good. Let me change that. And so the first one here is going to be for a daily affirmation and a daily, oh, it still won't. I'm sorry. Never mind. How about this? Christine, I'm going to send them to you and maybe we can send them out in an email with the next one. But folks, thank you for being here. If you'd like to learn more about me and what I do, check out my website, spiritevolving.com. And if you're interested in taking your data back, then you can watch the Netflix link I dropped there. But otherwise, I love you. Thank you. And I'll be here again next month.
And I get your daily inspirations, Reverend Robert, and I look forward to them every single day.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy that you're enjoying it. So
much. I'm so grateful to you, and I'm so grateful to everybody that attended this call.
Yes. All right. Oh, here's the right link. There.
Okay, great.
If people waited till the very end, you win and you get the link. So, all righty. Thank you, dear one. Peace and blessings. Until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Christine.
Yes, thank you.
God bless you both.
Yeah, God bless you as well. We are blessed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So